I, 29F, just had my first wedding anniversary with my husband Mike, 31M. We've been together for 5 years total. To celebrate, we decided to have a small party at our house and invite some friends and family over. My in-laws came, including my husband's sister Jane, 27F, and her husband. Jane and I have never really gotten along that well. She's always been kind of a rude, self-centered person who likes to put me down and mock me in front of others. Literally any time I've accomplished something or had an event like a birthday, she has to try to steal the spotlight and make it about her instead. It's really freaking annoying. So we're having this anniversary party, just a casual thing with snacks and drinks. Jane shows up looking kind of nervous and fidgety. I didn't think too much of it at first. We're about an hour into the party and Jane taps on her glass to get everyone's attention. She says, "Can I have everyone's attention for just a minute? I have an announcement to make." I immediately got a bad feeling, knowing how Jane loves the dramatic flair. Sure enough, she announces Mike, Mom, Dad, Steve and I are pregnant. We're having a baby. Cue gasps and cheers from everyone. Our parents are hugging them both and my in-laws look over the moon about becoming grandparents. I was just standing there in shock. Are you freaking kidding me? She had to make that announcement at my anniversary party? Stealing the spotlight and making it all about her, exactly as I expected. I could feel my face going red as Jane basked in the attention and congratulations. The rest of the party was just awkward for me. Everyone kept coming up and congratulating Jane, asking how far along she was, etc. Meanwhile, I'm the one who had actually planned and hosted this stupid thing to celebrate my marriage. But it was like my anniversary was an afterthought at that point. After everyone left, I pulled my husband aside and finally voiced how upset I was that Jane had to make that announcement and grab the spotlight on what was supposed to be my day. I said she's so self-centered and rude, and always has to make things about her. I was looking forward to celebrating our anniversary with our loved ones, but Jane completely stole my thunder. But here's where I might be the asshole. My husband actually defended Jane. He said I was being selfish and petty, that a pregnancy is a way bigger deal than an anniversary party. He said Jane didn't plan to overshadow me, she was just excited and wanted to share the happy news with family when we were all together. He told me I need to learn to not make every little thing about me, and be happy for his sister instead of jealous. That really hurt to hear from my own husband on my anniversary. He basically took Jane's side and made me feel like my feelings didn't matter. But I can't help feeling completely deflated and disappointed about how the night went. Jane has pulled self-centered stunts like this before, so I know she did it intentionally to shift attention to herself. Am I being an insecure, petty asshole for being upset my sil stole my spotlight on my anniversary? Or should she have been more considerate about the timing of her announcement? My husband says I'm way out of line, but I don't think I'm being unreasonable at all. What do you guys think? Update 1. Okay, so an update on this whole situation. A couple days after my anniversary party, I was out running some errands with my friend Jenna. We stopped at the mall to go shopping and grab lunch. As we're walking through the mall, we bump into Susie, Jane's next door neighbor. Susie is a nice older lady, probably in her 60s. She and Jane are pretty close and friendly. When Susie saw me, she gave me a big hug and said congratulations on your anniversary. I thanked her and said something like, well, it was a bit overshadowed by Jane's pregnancy announcement, but thank you. Susie then got this look on her face and said, oh honey, you don't know the half of it. Jane has been going on and on for weeks about how she was going to steal your thunder and upstage you at your anniversary party. I was completely stunned. Susie went on to explain that Jane had apparently been talking nonstop about how excited she was going to ruin my big anniversary celebration by announcing her pregnancy in front of everyone. She knew exactly what she was doing and did it on purpose to make sure all the attention was on her instead of me for once. Susie said that Jane referred to me as a selfish attention seeker and was sick of me hogging the spotlight on big occasions and holidays. She wanted to get her revenge for all those times and purposefully planned to blow up my anniversary by making it all about her pregnancy. What a liar. What a white lie that I stole her spotlights. It was she who always did it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I knew Jane was self-centered, but this was a whole new level of malicious and calculating. To plan weeks in advance to deliberately try to ruin my anniversary celebration out of pure jealousy and pettiness? That's so messed up. As soon as I got home, I told my husband Mike everything Susie had said. I thought for sure this would finally make him see what a spiteful person his sister is and that she 100% did purposefully try to overshadow me on my anniversary. But incredibly, Mike didn't believe me. He accused me of lying and making up stories just to make Jane look bad. He said there's no way his sister would ever say those things or act like that. We got into a huge argument where he basically called me a liar and said I was only making it into a way bigger deal than it really was. The next day I decided to go to Mike's parents to try to plead my case and help him see reason. I told them the whole story about what Susie overheard Jane saying about purposefully trying to steal my spotlight and ruin my anniversary for me out of jealousy. But they didn't believe me either. They defended Jane and said there's no way she would ever do such a thing. They accused me of being the jealous one for not being able to share the spotlight with Jane for once on her happy news. Basically calling me selfish and petty yet again. Even after hearing Susie's credible eyewitness account of Jane's malicious intentions, Mike and his family still took Jane's side over me. I was sitting there dumbfounded as my in-laws brushed it off as me being oversensitive and imagining things. My husband continues to insist I'm either lying or delusional about Jane's true motives. At this point I don't even know what to do. No one will believe or listen to me about what really happened. Jane has successfully painted me as the irrational, jealous one when she was the one being completely selfish and doing something so deliberately hurtful on my anniversary. Yet I'm the bad guy for being upset about it? My husband is supposed to have my back and support me, but he keeps defending his awful sister instead of validating my feelings. I've never been so disappointed and hurt. Was announcing a pregnancy really so much more important than me getting to feel special on my wedding anniversary for once without Jane's pettiness? I'm at my wit's end with this whole situation. Ida here or are Mike and my in-laws being completely unreasonable by not believing me and calling me a jealous liar? Please tell me I'm not crazy for being this upset over what Jane did. I need some outside perspective because my husband's family has totally turned on me. Update 2. Hey everyone, it's me again with another update on the drama with my sil Jane. Just to recap, Jane spitefully announced her pregnancy at my first wedding anniversary party to intentionally steal my spotlight and make it all about her. Her neighbor Susie confirmed Jane did this on purpose out of jealousy towards me. But when I told my husband Mike and my in-laws, they refused to believe me and accused me of being a lying, jealous person, making it a bigger deal than it was. Well, it's been a few months since that all went down. Jane is now around 6 months pregnant. Last week, we all got invited to her baby shower that her mom, my Mill, is hosting. I have to admit, when I saw that invitation, I got a nagging desire to get some payback on Jane for what she did at my anniversary party. I ended up taking a pregnancy test a couple days before the shower, and it came back positive. I'm pregnant too. At first I was super excited to finally be having my own baby. But then I started thinking about Jane and how she better not try anything to steal my thunder when I make my announcement to everyone. To be honest, the thought of getting some revenge did cross my mind. To finally make Jane be the one whose moment gets overshadowed for once. To announce my pregnancy at her own baby shower and give her a taste of her own medicine. I tried not to dwell too much on those petty thoughts. But the more I thought about how Jane behaved and how unsupportive Mike and my in-laws were towards me, the more I wanted to pay her back in kind. So I decided, I was going to do it. I would wait for the right moment and then announce that I'm pregnant too at Jane's stupid shower. So, the day of Jane's shower arrives. Mike is being short with me like he usually is any time I bring up what Jane did. We show up and Jane is just lapping up all the attention as usual, looking like the cat that got the cream. It was really hard to bite my tongue seeing her with that smug grin after how she treated me. Finally, Jane's mom asks if anyone has any other special announcements or anything to share before they start opening gifts. That was my moment. I stood up, cleared my throat, and said actually, yes I do have one quick thing. Jane looked really confused but I put on my best fake smile and announced Mike and I are also expecting. We're having a baby too. You could have heard a pin drop. Everyone just went silent and looked shocked. Jane's face turned bright red and she looked absolutely furious. Her mom demanded to know if I was telling the truth. I assured them it was no joke, and that yes, I am pregnant, just like Jane. Well, cue the drama. Jane threw her hands up and angrily shouted, "You have got to be freaking kidding me. After everything I went through, you're really going to try to take this moment away from me?" She looked like she was about to cry from rage. Her husband had to try to calm her down. My Mill rounded on me, telling me I was being completely out of line and insensitive. That this was Jane's day to celebrate her baby, not try to make everything about me too. She said what I did was so selfish and cruel. Jane stormed out of the room crying. My Phil chewed me out for stealing Jane's joy. Mike pulled me aside, furious that I would stoop to this level by purposefully trying to take attention from Jane after how understanding she was about not trumping my anniversary too much. I tried defending myself, saying I had every right to share my happy news too. That Jane started it by intentionally trying to spoil my anniversary first. But no one would hear it, they all dogpiled on me, calling me petty, jealous, and cruel for getting revenge. My Mill kicked me out, saying she never wanted me disrespecting her family like that again. Mike refused to leave with me. So I stormed out in tears to my car and instantly called my own mom, absolutely hysterical and needing somewhere to go. My parents were outraged when I told them the full story of what happened. How Jane intentionally tried to make my anniversary all about herself, how no one believed me, and now they're all attacking me as the bad guy for doing the exact same thing back. My dad launched into a furious tirade cursing out Mike and calling him an unsupportive jackass for choosing Jane over me. He said the way they're excusing her behavior and blaming only me is unacceptable. My mom agreed, saying they don't deserve me if they'll let Jane walk all over me like that. So I've been staying at my parents' place for almost a week now. I'm honestly dreading the idea of going back and facing Mike and his family after the hell they put me through at Jane's baby shower. My parents have been completely supportive and validating my feelings, saying I did nothing wrong by announcing my pregnancy too. My dad has been especially fired up over how Mike and my in-laws are treating me. He has suggested that I should just cut ties with them altogether if they're going to continue blindly defending Jane's blatantly shitty behavior towards me while vilifying me at every turn. He's appalled at the double standard and hypocrisy. My mom has talked about looking into getting me into some therapy, as she thinks this whole toxic family situation with Jane and the in-laws has really started to take a toll on my mental health and self-esteem. I've been an emotional wreck, just feeling constantly ganged up on and unsupported by my husband. As for Mike, he's barely reached out, only sending brief texts asking when I'll be done with my tantrum and coming back home. I tried calling to talk it through rationally, but he just lashed out, calling me immature and saying I single-handedly ruined Jane's baby shower just because I had to make it all about me as usual. So I've just stopped engaging. Clearly I'm not going to get through to Mike or make him see his sister's true colors, no matter what she does. He's siding with her 100% on this and sees me as the sole issue. I don't know if our marriage can survive that level of bias and lack of respect for my feelings. My parents have urged me to stay with them as long as I need to get my head straight about all of this. Part of me is tempted to just make my stay more permanent and file for divorce from Mike. This level of treatment from him and his family is unacceptable, especially with a baby on the way. I'm honestly at such a loss. I'm carrying my husband's child yet he's treating me like the bad guy, all because his horrendous sister knows how to play the victim so well. Jane gets away with blatantly shitty behavior towards me time and time again, but I'm the one who's forced to apologize or face the consequences. So tell me, Reddit, have I been the asshole this entire time? Was announcing my pregnancy really so selfish and cruel after the way Jane treated me first? Or are Mike and my in-laws totally in the wrong for their double standards and relentless defense of Jane no matter how badly she mistreats me? I'm at my wit's end over wasted my time and commitment has been in this monster-in-law filled marriage. Please give it to me straight, am I overreacting or is this situation as toxic and unacceptable as I feel like it is? Give it to me straight, Reddit, because I've never felt so gaslighted in my life. Update 3. I can't even begin to express how grateful I am for all the feedback and support I received after my last update post. Getting that outside perspective was crucial for me not feeling totally gaslit and crazy over this whole Jane/in-law situation. So many of you validated that I was not the asshole here, which meant everything. Well, some major new developments have happened over the last couple of days. I was just minding my business staying at my parents' place, trying to figure out next steps with Mike and whether our marriage was even worth saving at this point. I was leaning heavily towards divorce after the way he completely disregarded my feelings and sided with Jane over me, again. Then out of nowhere, I get a knock at my parents' door. It's Mike. Before I can even say anything, he just launches into this long apology about how immensely wrong he was for the way he treated me and refused to believe the truth about Jane's intentions. He said he'd been doing a lot of thinking and finally realized the level of toxic enabling he's allowed towards his sister over the years. But here's where it gets juicy. Mike admits that a huge wake-up call came when he overheard a private conversation between Jane and my mother-in-law a couple days ago. He wasn't even trying to eavesdrop, he just happened to catch part of it on his way into the house. Apparently Jane was ranting to her mom about how she's always resented and hated having me as a sister-in-law from the very beginning. How she's never approved of her brother being with me because I'm too plain and not good enough for Mike or their family. She said her goal has always been to constantly cut me down to size whenever I get any bit of attention or have anything good happen for me. Jane then started bragging to her mom about how awesome it felt to ruin the high point of my anniversary and marriage by stealing the spotlight with her pregnancy news. She gloated about making me shut up and sit in the corner all night while everyone fawned over her. Her mom seemed concerned, but Jane brushed it off, saying I deserve it for being such an attention seeker who thinks I'm better than her. As you can imagine, hearing all of this was like a punch in the gut for Mike. He said it finally opened his eyes to the reality that I had been right about Jane all along. She truly is just a jealous, insecure, mean-spirited person who has always irrationally resented me and made it her mission to bring me down at every opportunity. He felt like such a fool for defending her abusive behavior towards me for so long. So Mike finally acknowledged that Jane did indeed intentionally try to ruin my anniversary out of malice, and that announcing my own pregnancy news was not even remotely close to being on the same vindictive level. He said he was just stubbornly blind to that from being manipulated by Jane's lies and crocodile tears for so many years. Honestly, it was such a relief to get that full-hearted apology and have Mike firmly on my side against Jane for once. He kept saying over and over how sorry he was for invalidating my feelings and experiences, and putting me through so much trauma at the hands of his horrible sister. We ended up having a long, tearful heart-to-heart, and he promised to have my back from now on when it comes to Jane. I agreed to give Mike another chance and come back home with him. But I made it crystal clear, if he ever defends Jane's despicable behavior towards me again after this, if he ever takes her side or allows her to mistreat me like that, we're getting divorced on the spot. No more chances. Jane is on her final strike as far as I'm concerned. So that's where things stand now. It's honestly like a huge weight has been lifted. As much as part of me wanted to just throw in the towel on this marriage, it really does mean a lot to me that Mike came around and validated how horribly he allowed his family to treat me for so long. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about leaving all that toxicity behind and moving forward as a united front.